Hello again. This is Mike Wilson with AdvisoryWorld. I am Chief Operating Officer of the firm, and I am proud to present our deep integration with Orion Advisor. In general, the core purpose of our integration is to attract and retain more assets. What we've done in working with Orion and their portfolio accounting and performance reporting side of the business is integrate our portfolio and analytics, investment planning, and research, which basically represents a complete circle from front end to back end, or front office to back office solutions, which is, of course, this integrated and synchronous solutions going to increase efficiencies at your practice several-fold. Some of the key features that AdvisoryWorld provides are, first off, hypothetical illustrations, the ability to run several different what-if scenarios and backtest various strategies, including investment accounts that your clients may already have to look at historical hypothetical metrics. We look at a series of MPT statistics that give you quantitative measures such as beta and alpha and correlation to determine various investment planning characteristics of the portfolio, all leading to what we would consider as being risk analysis. What is the probability of having a minimum return over the next 1-year period? What is the standard deviation of an account, a model, or what have you? We allow for portfolio optimization. So let me look at a portfolio investment and find the best blend of those investments to maximize return and minimize risk. We also feature Monte Carlo simulation. Now, while we would never compare ourselves to some of our partners like Money Guide Pro, we do offer Monte Carlo simulation in a more of a quick and dirty manner that says, okay, starting with X number of dollars, and assuming a few goals here and there, retirement income or what might, what there might be there, what's the forward-looking probability of success? What does my ending value look like, current versus proposed? We also incorporate investment screening, so you can find investments based on different criteria, such as give me all the mutual funds that are large cap growth oriented, have an inception going back at least 10 years, and have a high positive alpha. Last but definitely not least is the ability to run quantitative proposals. How does a current account prospective or current client stack up against a proposed model? And I'm going to show you all those features here today. Some of the benefits of the hooks we built with Orion are largely due to the integration efficiencies. The amount of time that you can save by importing and calling our reports ad hoc from Orion, it's numerous. I mean, you're talking about entering a series of investments in a third-party application like a Morningstar. That might take you, I don't know, several minutes to hours to enter in a portfolio consisting of, say, 100 positions. This is all done on the fly with one click of the mouse. Not only does it save you in terms of time, but the error reduction is huge. I mean, I happen to have, from time to time, fat fingers, so I might type in the wrong number or the wrong ticker symbol. I might type in APPL for Apple versus AAPL for Apple. Well, that's going to throw things off, could cause an error, could, just put a huge delay in my presentation. All of that is gone by the wayside when we talk about integrating with Orion. Something huge here is the report and methodology differentiation. Our reports allow you as an advisor to set up your own logos and your own color schemes. We even have a little bit different look and feel, of course, than Morningstar. This differentiating factor is huge. We've heard from a lot of advisors like yourselves that when they sit down with a client or a prospect and they happen to show them perhaps a Morningstar report, the client says, well, I can get this report from Schwab.com or from my Scottrade or my E-Trade account. What are you doing for me differently? This report set that we offer you through AdvisoryWorld gives you that differentiation. Methodology-wise, really cool. I mean, you can look at not just the MPT statistics and the hypothetical scenarios to make your sales pitch and to keep your clients and prospects interested in what you're presenting to the table that's different. But you also have the ability to look at diversification metrics, and I'll shed some light on that here in a little bit. Ease of use is huge. When we look at the integration, of course the ease of use is exponentially affected because we're just clicking on a mouse a couple times versus entering numbers and going from screen to screen. Our support model is really a huge part of our business here at AdvisoryWorld and at Orion. At AdvisoryWorld, we've been around since 1987. We've got dedicated support staff that's really driven to make sure you understand not only how to access our reports in our application and to use our application, but how to sell it. What do these different metrics mean, and what's the best way to incorporate those in your business? And last, and definitely not least, especially in today's times, we look at price. When you compare our offering to Morningstar Advisory Workstation, rather Advisor Workstation, we're less than half of what they're charging. When we look at the integration points between Orion and AdvisoryWorld, there's 4 key elements. One is with the asset fact sheets. Secondly, we have the portfolio report integration. Next, we have the e-profile proposals integration. And finally, we have seamless sign-on to our application and import. The first place we're going to look to today is the fact sheet integration. So when you're inside of Orion here, you'll have a account like this portfolio snapshot. And you'll notice if I click on any of these investments, such as this Orion MLP, here I've got AdvisoryWorld as an option. And as soon as I click on that, it's going to generate a one-page fact sheet for that portfolio. For that asset. So the amount of time that we saved there from going over to a Morningstar, or maybe you went over to Google and typed in a ticker and got some information, well, it's all here for you. Let me speak really quickly about this report. Of course, you've got a lot of good information about the family, the manager. We can look at the back-tested performance versus a benchmark. You can see risk and return metrics, so on and so forth, the drill-down analysis, top 10 holdings. This also gives me an opportunity to talk about our data sources for mutual funds, ETFs, variable annuities, and indexes. We get all of our data from Lipper. Our stock database comes from Zacks Investment Research. Our bond database comes from Standard & Poor's. And we have various sources for SMA data, if that interests you. Here you can also see the branding has kind of our blue scheme in it. This can easily be customized to match your brand and have your own logos. So these were the asset fact sheets, high accessibility. The next place would be on portfolio reports. So this happens to be the performance report. What's really cool about this is we can look at the actual performance within a client's account versus the hypothetical back test of that same blend of assets historically. And that's huge in a few different factors, right? Let's say that you had a client's account that's been around for, well, you've had the client for a year and a half. Well, in a performance report, you can only show the client how his or her portfolio performed over the past year and a half. When you incorporate our analytics in that same report kit, you can say, well, here's how you did for the past year and a half. Here's how this blend of assets would have performed for, say, the past, 20 years. Gives you a much different perspective as to the risk characteristics that your client's accounts are taking. It just gives you one more arrow in your quiver to be able to show your active management process, how you're able to analyze risk and return, not just from a year and a half, but for a long haul. It gives you much better perspective. So from the performance report, you're able to click on parameters, and then you can expand this section. You'll notice that you have all these different options available to you. This detailed parameters section allows you to scroll down, and you can see you can include the AdvisoryWorld holding scan report. Now when I press Generate Report, you get your performance report, just like you do today inside of Orion. This gives you all the, the returns and the beginning values, all that kind of good stuff. But appended to that, in the same report set, is our holding scan. And again, this gives you the macro allocation, the asset allocation, trailing hypothetical performance, risk and return metrics. Let's take a look at a few of these sections, because this is great information, and it's huge from an oversight and a review perspective. But macro allocation wise, we can say, well, we've got this much allocated to equities, cash, fixed income, convertibles, and others. So it gives you a drill down at that high level. And when I say drill down, I mean it. We're going down to the underlying holdings within this account, saying, well, what do these mutual funds hold in terms of equities, cash, fixed income, convertibles, and others? What do the ETFs hold? So on and so forth, and we roll that up. We also look at the asset allocation categories. We look at, again, the trailing performance in this case versus my growth benchmark. You can compare it against the S&P 500 or set whatever benchmarks you'd like. We also look at Sharpe, alpha, beta, R-squared. I'm not going to show you in this particular instance, but we also do drill down in terms of equity properties. What's my PE and PB ratio of this account? Fixed income properties. What's my rating distribution to AAA versus AA versus less than B? What's my duration? The duration, of course, gives you some insight, a lot of insight into interest rate sensitivity. We also look at the metrics. What was my historical yield on this portfolio? What was my average expense? We drill down and look at sector allocation. We look at country allocation. We even can tell you that in this account, 10 of your mutual funds all hold Apple. So, I think Morningstar calls that the X-ray. We look at it in an overlap analysis, and that's all part of this report, available just with a couple clicks of the mouse. No data entry, no typing at all. The next place that we hook in with Orion is through the e-profile. Here you'll notice that I'm going to continue with an existing application, and when I get to this summary tab, I'm able to generate an investment policy statement. And when I generate the investment policy statement, you'll notice here that we have two options for AdvisoryWorld. One is the compare scan, one is the detailed analytics. All right. The compare scan, as its name implies, compares two portfolios nicely in a great can report. Detailed analytics, also as its name implies, goes a little bit more detail. Looks at maximum drawdown, heavier on the quant side. Looks at up and down market capture. Includes Monte Carlo simulation, returns-based style analysis. A lot of these big buzzwords that you're working with are available here. The reason we give both options, well, it depends on your client. Some of your clients can take on, those heavier quantitative measures. Some of your engineering clients, maybe some of your large family offices. That's where you might want to use detailed analytics. Compare scan is more for, maybe for the everyday proposal. Something else that's cool about this offering is that you can go ahead, once you're inside of Orion here, and you can add in a current account. So you can see here, enter the allocation of your current client portfolio. And that gives you your compare scan, current versus proposed. So now you get your true quantitative proposal. And when I click on Generate, you'll notice you get your investment policy statement just like you do today through Orion. And part of that report, quantitative proposal from AdvisoryWorld. Growth proposed versus current account. You get all the different metrics we looked at before comparatively. Historical performance, hypothetically, side by side, all that kind of good stuff. The last entry point that I'm going to talk about today is the seamless sign-on. You'll notice that from resources you have access to AdvisoryWorld. And when you click on AdvisoryWorld, you'll have credentials to access our analytics and reports. And you click on Sign On here, you'll notice it launches up our application seamlessly. From that point, you have access to all the different capabilities that we offer to users, parameters-wise, and what have you. That's not all, I guess you could say, ad hoc, like we've shown to date during this presentation. One of the things that's really cool here is I can click on Import, and automatically will pull across all of your households from Orion, from which point you can say, well, I want to pull in, Grover Cleveland. And you'll notice that that client comes across. And on the next step, we're able to see all the accounts that belong to that given client. In this case, there's only one, but you might have 100. You can choose any or all of them. So I click Import, and once that happens, you'll see import is successful. And now we have that account import into our application, from which point you can access any of our capabilities, right? Including all the comparative reports. You might want to build custom models inside of our application and run comparisons. You might want to switch benchmarks around. There's just numerous things we could go on and on about what our application does that web services, that automatic report generation through Orion doesn't give you, but it should be pretty intuitive why using an app on top would offer more functionality. When I click on reports here, you'll notice all the different reports, all the different parameters. Here I'll just generate this holding scan and hit build report. And the same type of thing that we looked at before, available through our application. Again, you can customize and tweak and look at a bunch of different scenarios. Again, so just to summarize, we have the asset fact sheet integration, the portfolio report integration, e-profile proposals, and seamless sign-on and import. Those are the 4 key points that we integrate with on Orion. If you look at it at the benefits one last time, the efficiencies that integration provides you are huge, not only from a time perspective, but from a compliance perspective. You're able to generate these reports very quickly and without any chance for an error. I mean, you're talking about computers talking to computers, so there's no exception available there when you make a typo, for example. The reports and methodology differentiation. Again, you can customize the reports, and you're able to look at things not just from a pure return perspective, but you can also look in and sell against differentiating factors like diversification, fixed income properties, equity properties. Maybe the expense ratio is better for your current versus your proposed, or vice versa. The ease of use of the application and the integration is a huge benefit of people that are coming on new and using our application are literally picking up and running with it within a matter of hours, not weeks. Our support model, we offer webinars on a daily basis. We handle webinars ad hoc. I mean, you can reach out to us and say, hey, AdvisoryWorld, we'd like you to show us how to do this, and we'll fire up GoToMeeting and do a presentation for you. And last, of course, price. It's less than half of what Morningstar is charging for their workstation. In order to learn more, we are offering a trial that you can access by contacting your account manager either at AdvisoryWorld or at Orion. You can learn a lot more at advisoryworld.com/Orion. You can see here we've got email address info@advisoryworld.com, our Twitter site. You can learn more information and keep up to date with news, and finally our phone number. So thank you for sitting in on the presentation. I appreciate it.